Before I begin this lesson, I want to start off by giving all glory, honor, and praises unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Chakwadash, and double honors unto the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who taught us this truth. A sincere shalom to the hopeful electors out there living, learning, and or teaching in truth and sincerity. Shalom. So I got this article pulled up. It's caught my eye earlier. It says, another black child hanging from a tree. Why Juliana Zeta's death is stirring fears of a modern-day lynching. A community in Charlotte, North Carolina is demanding answers and asking the hard questions after Juliana Zeta was found hanging from a tree 11 days after she disappeared. You see? So these same Edomites who basically put us into slavery, okay, and what do I mean by us? You know, the Israelites. We're the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians. Okay, and today we're focusing mainly on the Southern Kingdom, right? The tribes of Judah, Benjamin, Levi, so-called blacks, okay? They put our people in hardcore slavery for 400 years to build up their country. And they still can't leave us the fuck alone, man. Okay, what is that called? That's called a perpetual hatred. Right, let's grab that precept in the book of, I believe, Ezekiel. Come. So let's get to Ezekiel. And we'll start from the top, man. Ezekiel 35:1. Moreover, the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, and prophesy against it. We're going to grab this word Mount Seir, H8165. Okay, there's the word in the Hebrew. What does it mean? The land of Edom, right? The Edomites, okay? So it's just another word for Edom, okay? The so-called white man. It says, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir and prophesy against it, okay? So this prophecy is against you so-called white people. It says, and say unto it, Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, Behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. Okay? When you make something desolate, you destroy it. Just like how America is going to become desolate after the thermonuclear destruction that's going to come from Russia and these League of Nations over there in the east side of the world. Okay, it's going to be a wilderness, a desert. It says, I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am Yahweh. Right? They don't know that he is Yahweh right now, because right now they're just abusing our people. Okay? And they say there is no God. They say they are God. They think they are the Most High. Okay? That's why Elon Musk said that the Neuralink chip is creating Jesus-level miracles. Right? So they blaspheming the Lord. Right? They changed, they crossed out the Lord here in America, man. They changed him from black to white. Because according to the scriptures, Yahweh Shai is a so-called black man. Okay? But they made him look like a so-called white man. Who did that? The Edomites. They ain't got no respect for the Lord, man. These are your biggest atheists. Right? Look at that guy, Aleister Crowley. Okay, look at the Epstein class. They all worship Baal, sacrificing children. Okay, who's doing that? None other than your rich, elite, so-called white men. Okay, and that power trickles down, all the way down to the run-of-the-mill, Joe Sixpack, Billy Bob, who's out here running their lips. Okay? All of you Edomites are going into slavery in the kingdom. That is your judgment for what you did to Jake. Okay? And then your precious America is going to be destroyed. Well, first it's going to be destroyed, then you're going into slavery. Then you're going to be done away with. Okay? You people have a long list of sins, man. And you got to pay for every last one of them. Okay? Verse 5, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel. They've had a perpetual hatred against Israel, man. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans. Okay, look at all these lynchings that have been done against the so-called blacks. All right, not just in the time of slavery, which wasn't that long ago, by the way, but even now in the modern era. Okay, this is still going on. You see? You could even think back to the Spanish conquest. Okay, the theft of the land of the Native American Indians. Okay, this was all done by what? Bloodshed here on this land, the Americas. North, Central, South America, and the Caribbean islands, all colonized by these Edomites. Through what? Through the force of the sword. Because wasn't that Esau's blessing, the sword? So that's how the so-called white man keeps power, is through his military might, which the Lord has given him for a season. Okay, this man does not create anything original. This man does not help life or humankind, or I don't like that word humankind, but he doesn't help life in general. Okay, he destroys life. Look at what he's doing with the data centers. Look at what he's doing with the food, man. I made a video about, just showing you some of these foods at the goddamn grocery store, man, with other fucking chemicals and that shit. And I'm cussing because it pisses me off, man. You should be pissed off. You should be pissed off. If you're not pissed off, you're in the wrong spirit. If you're not pissed off, it means you like this place. It means you like the evil that is done here, or that you're tolerant to it. No, man. This is not living. Okay, here under this wicked rulership, we are being poisoned. We're being destroyed, targeted. If it's not you getting lynched, you're going to get falsely accused, thrown in jail, or you're going to become poor, end up on the side of the street, or you end up overworked and underpaid and getting some type of illness, and then they fuck you with the medical industry. Go to the doctors, they put you on 10 different pills. Right? Hey, that's why the scripture says our people are led as a flock to the slaughter. Okay? How are we led? Because the so-called white man, this is his system. He has all the power. He's the one that controls the institutions, right? The corporations, the police departments, the laws. Everything is done by him. Okay? Which ultimately the Lord controls all things, and this is part of the curses, part of our punishment. Okay? What else does it say? It says, I'm going to start from the top again. It says, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Shai, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. That's right. The so-called white man does not hate blood. He's loved blood all the way from the beginning, man. He's that bloody man. He even likes his steak raw. That's why to this day they eat that bloody steak. You go all the way back, he sold his birthright for a piece of raw meat. Okay, that's that red porridge, or that red, whatever it was called, But you get the point, man. Red pottage, I think it was what it was called. Okay. Verse 7. And before we go to verse 7, man, let's get that in numbers, man, because this is a righteous judgment. What's going to happen to the so-called white man? Because look at what he's doing, man. Okay. The law tells you an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, a life for a life. Okay, you're lynching our people. Guess what? In the kingdom, when we have you in slavery, you're going to get lynched, man. And we're going to throw parties around you getting lynched. Okay, that's what's coming to you Edomites, man. So you better get ready, boy. As you would tell us, boy, we're telling you, boy, you better get ready. Okay, all 12 tribes are going to have fun pummeling you in the kingdom like a piñata, man. busting you wide open. Shit's gonna look like a WWE match, Hell in a Cell, but it's gonna be real, okay? And you're not gonna have any chance, man. Okay, you're not gonna have a fighting chance against a nation of kings who can fly, shoot laser beams, who are immortals. And you're gonna still be in this vile flesh because it wasn't for you to receive the promises, the salvation that belongs to the nation of Israel. Okay, we're gonna be saved from this flesh, from the grips of death, from you Edomites. Okay? But let's grab that Numbers that talks about blood defiling the land. This is Numbers 35:33. So ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land. And the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. Right? So all this murder that the so-called white man did, all right, it has to be balanced out with his destruction. To you murdered innocent lives, so now you're gonna be murdered. Okay, and that's what's coming to you in the kingdom, man. The scripture says we will meditate terrors. Okay, just like that's what they're doing now, man. To hang an innocent black woman, so-called, or black man, so-called, as they've been doing all this time. Okay, that's what we're gonna do to them. All right, you're gonna be picking cotton in our fields. Right, you're gonna be doing whatever job Jake has you doing, and one day we're just gonna grab you up and tie your neck with a rope and hoist your ass all the way up to the stratosphere, man. Okay, while your family's watching. Okay, because of what you did, man. We're not pulling this judgment out of our ass, man. It's an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, a life for a life, man. It's called balance. Okay, that we just read the scripture that the only way to cleanse the land of blood is to shed the blood of the man that shed it. And that's Edom, man. Okay? The scripture says we will meditate terrors upon him, man, because that's what he did to us. Okay, we're not going to give this devil a new punishment. It's just going to be the same thing that he did to us. And if you feel bad for him, you should feel bad for us because we went through it. Why don't you feel bad for us? You know, and I'm talking to you Jakes out there that want to kiss the so-called white man's ass, that want to continue in your white supremacy. Because even though you don't know it, this come together, everybody hold hands. You know, the universe is God. All these weird philosophies, this is all white supremacy, man. Because you allowed them to build up their kingdom, and now you want to hold hands with everybody. No, motherfucker. You're still the king of this world. You still have all the power, all the riches. You got the best jobs. You have your pick of the litter when it comes to women, when it comes to business. Anything in this life is easy for you. You have a silver spoon in your mouth. The so-called white man. Jake has to fight and work for everything, man. Okay, no, we're not holding fucking hands now that you already have your empire. No, we're going to tear your empire down and we're going to put you into slavery. Okay? That's justice. That's the right move. Okay? Not letting bygones be bygones. Okay? If Jake so much as steals a bag of chips from the store, these Edomites will be happy to gun him down. Hey, look at what that so-called Asian man did to the so-called black boy. I'm not sure what happened there, but from what I understand, okay, and from what I've seen in the past, okay, a lot of these heathens will shoot our people in the back as they're running away. Jake might come in with a fake gun, you know, just trying to get some money. And I'm not justifying Jake, you know, stealing, but what I'm saying is, okay, that's murder, man. If somebody's not a threat to you, can't just take their life, okay, which has been done many times, like in this case right here. All right, what did this woman do? And we're gonna get into the article real quick. I just wanted to grab some precepts, man. You know, this is Isaiah 33:18. Thine heart shall meditate terror. Where is the scribe? Where is the receiver? Where is he that counted the towers? Okay, going into, what we're going to be doing in the kingdom. Okay, and let me see something. But that's pretty much it on that. Just want to make sure if there was anything else we could get some meat off the bone, but I think that's good on that. Let's go back to the article. The gruesome discovery of 16-year-old Juliana Zita's lifeless body hanging from a tree on the property of the United House of Prayer for All People Church in Charlotte, North Carolina on May 8th has left a community heartbroken and forced us all to revisit America's shameful past. Okay, why are we revisiting the past? Because, like they say in the world, if you don't understand history, you're what? Doomed to repeat it. Right? The scriptures tells us the things that were written aforetime are written for our knowledge. And guess what? This Bible tells you how the so-called white man had us in slavery even before America was created. They had us in slavery during the time of the Greeks. They had us in slavery during the time of the Romans. Now, as the Americans, they have us in slavery. You see? Okay? And let's grab Sirach 12 and 10 for that. Right here. Sirach 12 and 10. Never trust thine enemy, right? We know pursuant to Psalms, the 83rd chapter, Edom, the nation of Edom, Mount Seir, those are our enemies. Enemy number one. Never trust thine enemy, for like his iron rusted, so is his wickedness, right? It's like you got a cast iron pan at the house, or you got some old rusty bolts. Okay, you could clean it off, but it's going to rust again. You can't get rid of his wickedness, man. Here he is. He has all this power. He has all this wealth. He has all this riches. He's in his own kingdom. He still has us at the bottom of society. And they're still targeting us like animals, man. Okay, let's grab that precept. Let's hold Sirach 12 and 10. We're going to hold this. And I want to grab let favor be shown. I want to grab this one. Isaiah 26 and 10. Let favor be shown to the wicked. Who's the wicked? Pursuant to Malachi 1 and 4, the nation of Edom. Right? That nation who the Lord has anger against forever. And rightly so. Let favor be shown to the wicked, yet will he not learn righteousness. Bro, he has all this power and wealth, and he's still fucking with us. This man has to go. He has all this knowledge, wealth, power. They call themselves the Illuminati. These international elite bankers, Rothschilds, Rockefellers, okay, DuPonts, okay, but they're still doing what? Poisoning the world, fucking up the air. They're still suppressing all these inventions that have come out of cars that run with free energy. Free energy for all. They don't want to do it. They want you to be slaves to their monopoly game, depleting the world's resources for their control and power over the people because they're insatiable. That's why they have all this capitalism. You got homeless people starving, and you got food being thrown into the dumpster because of laws that you can't give away food for free. Because of excuses that they have. All these excuses, man. Okay? So he has all this power, but what does he do with it? He abuses it. He doesn't learn. Okay? So the so-called white man has to be done away with. He is what? A cancer on the earth. He's a cancer. Okay? It says, in the land of uprightness will he deal unjustly and will not behold the majesty of Yahweh B'Shem Al-Shah. He doesn't behold the majesty, man. This devil hates the creation of the Lord. That's why he's always fucking with the plants, making them GMO. And, that's why recently I've been looking up a certain type of bread called einkorn. You brothers can look it up. Einkorn is the original wheat before man started creating hybridization. Let me look that up so I'm saying it correctly. hybridization. Let's see if that's the right word. Yeah, hybridization is a versatile term referring to the mixing of two distinct entities to create a new combined form. Okay, of course they have chemistry, but we're talking about genetics and biology. Okay, and you can look up this wheat variety called einkorn, man. This is the original an ancient unhybridized wheat cultivated for over 12, which that's a lie. It's not been cultivated that long. Okay, it's been cultivated. This is the original, if I'm not mistaken, this is the original wheat that was made by the Lord. Okay, before Esau went in there and started fucking with the genetics. Okay, just another example of how he doesn't behold the majesty of the Lord. He hates creation. He wants to be like the Most High. He wants to be better than the Most High. Everything that the Lord gave us naturally, he wants to create something artificial. That's what this whole chip is about. It's an artificial way of life. Okay, in that chip, they are using propaganda to say that it will do all these miracles. If you have spinal problems and, depression and so on and so forth, eventually they're going to want to put that chip in everybody. And they're going to use that propaganda, those false, what do they call them? Lying wonders, man. Okay, they're giving you stories of all these lying wonders so they can trick you into taking that chip. Okay? How about this? How about stop poisoning the people so they don't need all these fucking pills and chips? How about stop doing that? How about get rid of your capitalism? But no, they want to do everything the wrong way, so they have to create artificial solutions to the problems that they created artificially. We never had a food crisis. We never had all these illnesses until Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, took power. Okay? So back to Sirach 12 and 10. Never trust thine enemy. Yeah, we've seen the history books, man. We've seen what this devil has done. Okay? We should know better. Jake. Okay? You should know better. Don't be hanging out with no Edomites by yourself. Okay, the scripture says don't go with a mighty man or an angry man alone, right? Very roughly paraphrasing, man. Sirach 8:16, strive not with an angry man and go not with him into a solitary place. An angry man, that's Esau, man. For blood is as nothing in his sight, and where there is no help, he will overthrow thee. Okay, don't be hanging out with these Edomites in quiet places, right? Don't be trusting these Edomites by yourself. This man is the devil. So anyway, back to the point, never trust thine enemy, for like his iron rusteth, so is his wickedness, right? That's Sirach 12 and 10. Okay, let's go to verse 11. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass. And thou shalt know that his rust has not been altogether wiped away, right? He's never going to change, man. This man is the same man, going all the way back through his lineage. This was Cain in the garden. Cain that killed Abel. Okay, going even back even further, this was the serpent that beguiled Eve, man. And he's still beguiling Eve, man. The so-called white man system has created what? Feminism, matriarchy, to poison the mind of our woman, to destroy the family unit. Now that the family unit is destroyed, what type of weird solutions do they have to that? They got these sex robots. Okay? They have artificial insemination. All this bullshit that's unnecessary, man. But it's necessary now in a system that he created. Okay, so this man has got to go. It says, set him not by thee, lest when he have overthrown thee, lest when he hath overthrown thee, not if, when, he stand up in thy place, neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat, and thou at the last remember my words and be pricked therewith. That's right, man. Okay, we can't have the so-called white man in the kingdom. There's not going to be any place for him, man. Because if we leave him alive, he's going to start fucking shit up. Okay? And I know this lesson's a little bit all over the place, man. Just going into the wickedness of Esau. Okay? And what's going on with our people out here getting lynched, getting kidnapped. And I'm sure some of us are getting put back into slavery, because I've heard news stories on that. Okay? Just like that movie Get Out. That shit is still happening on the low. Okay? We're going to read on in the article. It says, Juliana, who recently migrated to North Carolina from the Democratic Republic of the Congo and lived with her family, was reported missing on April 28th, according to the North Carolina Beat, an independent local news outlet. For nearly 2 weeks, loved ones and supporters searched for her while online posts and tips spread across social media. So let's look this up real quick. The Democratic Republic of the Congo. This article, I can't like copy paste shit. What's going on here? Democratic Republic of Congo. That's in Africa over there, and let's see, Central Africa. Which, there's Jakes, over there. Okay, especially in West Africa, where our people were taken, into slavery. Okay, but nevertheless, Esau sees color. All right, and he's what? He is conditioned to hate Jake. Okay, so he may see a so-called black woman, so-called black man, who may not even be a Jake. They might just be a heathen. Okay, and they might put him to death just because it reminds them of Jake, and they think it's Jake. Okay, because you got to remember, these low-level crackers, they don't know. A lot of them don't know. The only ones that do know is the elites. They know that random people from Africa are usually not Jake. Okay, but this woman may very well be a Jake. We don't know her backstory, her history, her lineage. It's very possible that she is a Jake, because look, she got hung on that tree, man. And what is that? That's part of the curses. Okay, so this woman, I'm inclined to believe that she's a Jake. Okay? And we'll get into that here right now, man. These are part of the curses. Deuteronomy 20 and 25. The Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Right? So these curses, for those of you that don't know, read this whole chapter on your own. The Lord made a promise or covenant with us, the Israelites. And if we would break the covenant, the curses would come upon us. Right? But if we kept it, then the blessings would come upon us. So we're in that time of the curse right now. All right, Deuteronomy 28:25. The Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thy enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them, and flee 7 ways before them, and shall be removed into all kingdoms of the earth. That's what's happening to us now, man. And like I said, man, that's the spirit. This woman is probably a Jake, who ended up staying in Africa, but then she came to America, and boom, the curses followed her, right? Okay, let's get back into it. Right here. Verse 26, and thy carcass shall be meat unto all the fowls of heaven, fowls of the air, and unto the beasts of the earth, and no man shall fray them away. Right? And that's what you see that with them lynchings, man. Okay? And this is happening to all types of Jakes across the country, man. And even the so-called Latinos were getting lynched. All right? So it shows you that hatred is specifically targeted towards Jake. All right? You so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians. But especially the Southern Kingdom, man. Because Judah is the head tribe. So they want to keep Judah down so the other tribes stay down, man. This is Deuteronomy 28. And 65. It'll start at 64. And Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people from one end of the earth, even unto the other end of the earth. And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. So, how are those so-called JEWs over there in Israel? How are they the real Jews? They're not scattered. They're in that land. Okay, the real JEWs would be scattered worldwide in slavery. Okay, and that's our people. You got Israelites everywhere. You got Israelites in Africa, Europe. You got Israelites in, of course, in America. That's the main place. But you got Israelites worldwide in slavery. Okay? It says, and among these nations thou shalt find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest, but Yahweh shall give thee there a trembling heart and failing of eyes and sorrow of mind. Right? We trembling. Our people trembling, man. Our people, Jake, they're going to read this story just like they read all the other stories or see all the other news articles of our people getting treated a certain type of way. They're going to be afraid to go out there into the street, man. You get stopped by an Edomite cop, you going to be afraid, man. I know when I see blue and red lights, my heart rate goes up because I don't know what the hell's in these devils' mind. Okay? I don't know if it's like playing Russian roulette. You might get a decent devil or an evil devil. Well, they're all evil. A wicked, a terrible devil, for lack of a better word. So back in Deuteronomy 28, let's see, where were we? Right here, 28:65. And among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest. But Yahweh shall give thee there a trembling heart and a failing of eyes and sorrow of mind. And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee. You see? You don't know what could happen. You end up dead. Hey, like the scripture says, our people led us a flock to the slaughter, man. Our people could be lynched. Our people could be gunned down, thrown in prison falsely. It says so-called black people, there's a statistic, so-called black people are 7 times more likely to be falsely accused. Okay? Jake could go homeless and die out there on the street. There's all these things that make our life hang in doubt. Okay, that's the curses, man. These other heathens aren't going through that. Right? So-called white men ain't going through that. So-called Chinese, so-called Arabs, right? True native so-called Africans, okay, they're doing well. You got princes over there, okay? But Jake, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians, we are the butt of everybody's joke, man. Even them Africans over there don't like our people, man. Even them African, them so-called, the real native Africans don't like so-called African Americans because they are not the same people as us, man. Okay, but like I said, our people are scattered, so there could be there are some of them over there who are us, just like there's some of them over in China or North Korea, so on and so forth. You got Jakes like Bruce Lee. Okay, so it's not about skin color, but it's about lineage. Okay, and like I keep mentioning, don't be simple, Jake. This woman's lineage could very well be to the tribe of Judah, Benjamin, or Levi. Okay? Or really any tribe, right? Or she could be a heathen that got caught up in the shenanigans of Esau. Okay? But either way, this lesson still stands, and the point is being driven home if you have understanding. Okay? Now, going back to Deuteronomy 28:66, we'll read that again. And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shall have none assurance of thy life. None assurance of our life, man. That's the curses. Okay, Deuteronomy 28:29, and thou shalt grope at noonday, Salakia. That's not the one I wanted. Had it highlighted here. 1 second. Deuteronomy 20:33, the fruit of thy land and all thy labors. That's not it. Oh, here we go. Yeah, the fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed always, so that thou shalt be mad for the sight of thine eyes, which thou shalt see, And Jake is very mad and very angry these days, man. Because look at what they've done to us throughout history and even to this day, man. Okay? And let's see here if there's anything else I wanted to go into, man. You know, this is Galatians 3:13. The Most High, or Salakia, Hamashiach Yahushai, hath redeemed us from the curse of the law. Right? That's that curse we just read about. Okay? And how did he do it? Through being that perfect sacrifice on the cross. Now he's seated at the right hand of the Most High, and he's coming back to do what? To save us from our enemies and from the curse of the law and from having to die. All these things, man, have been promised to us, the Israelites. It says, being made a curse for us, for as it is written, cursed is everyone that hangeth on a tree, right? Cursed is everyone that hangeth on a tree, right? Jake being lynched, all that stuff shows that we are the cursed people. Okay, now, with that being said, okay, let's grab Luke chapter 1, starting verse 69, man. And we're going to finish there, Lord's will. We'll start at verse 67. And his father Zacharias was filled with the Holy Spirit and prophesied, saying, Blessed be the Lord power of Israel, for he hath visited and redeemed his people. And hath raised up a horn of salvation for us in the house of his servant David. Right? Yahushua came through the lineage of David. That crushes that virgin birth bullshit. Right? Because for him to be from the line of David, Joseph had to have been his biological father. Okay. Verse 70, as he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began, that we, the Israelites, should be saved from our enemies. The nation of Esau, the nation of Ishmael, the nation of Moab, Ammon, right? These different Hamites. They are our enemies. Psalms 83. Okay? That is what salvation is all about. It's about being saved out of this fucking condition that we're living in, man. Being the bottom of society, man. The last one's hired. The first one's fired. The first one's lynched. The first one's thrown in jail. The first one's falsely accused. The first one's where you go on any comment board about any violence, the usual suspect. That's what Esau says about us. He says we're the usual suspect. He says, you know, we're the drug dealers. We're the criminals, so on and so forth. Okay? But that's a lie, man. As we read, he's the criminal, man. How many people have died here in America unjustly? Look at what they're doing, lynching our people. Okay? You can look up the statistics. How many people died in the conquering of America when Christopher Columbus came over here? All right? It was upwards of 100 million, man. Okay? From all the so-called Latinos, Native Americans, and so-called blacks that died. Okay? That's the biggest statistic of them all, man. But they don't put that statistic out there. They say, oh, well, per capita, you permit all these crimes. And it's not even true. Because that statistic is about arrests. And we know that Jake is falsely accused more than Esau, man. So who's the real villain, man? It's definitely not us, man. We're not the ones destroying the whole world, oppressing the people. Hell, in this weird-ass system, you even got white people crashing out. Because the curses are slowly starting to get transferred over to them, man. Okay, because the Lord, we're at the end, man. For those of you that don't know, that chip is getting ready to be mandated for buying and selling. The Lord's about to give this kingdom into our hands, man. Yeah, he's going to destroy this place, America, and we're going to get the kingdom. Okay? So the Edomites, you know, they're at their last leg, okay, and some of them are starting to go through the curses as well, because that's what Deuteronomy 30:7. Okay, we're gonna hold this, go right back. Deuteronomy 30, okay, and verse 7 it says, and Yahweh thy power will put all these curses upon thine enemies, and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee, right? Eventually it's going to happen. It's happening on a low level now. You got Edomites living in the back of their cars, talking shit on the internet. I got 2 jobs and I can't pay rent. Hey, welcome to our world, okay? Welcome to the world of adversity. Except it's going to crush these Edomites because they can't deal with adversity. For us, it builds us up. But for them, it tears them down. You see? Now, let's go back to Luke. Luke 1:71, 70. As he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began, that we should be saved from our enemies and from the hands of all that hate us. Okay, right? Our enemies being predominantly the Edomites, the so-called white people, and all the heathen nations as well, because they're all joined together against us. Right? That's why you got these so-called Asian people, so-called Arabs. They come and set up businesses in the ghetto. They hate us, but they need our business, right? Okay, how the fuck did you come from another country and you're doing better than us in a country we're supposed to be part of? Right? They say we're all Americans. Are we really? How come we're in the ghettos still? You see? This is an injustice, man. This is an injustice, and we're going to get saved from that injustice by our Lord Yahushua. To perform the mercy promised to our fathers and to remember his holy covenant, the oath which he sware to our father Abraham, that he would grant unto us that we, being delivered out of the hand of our enemies, might serve him without fear, in holiness and righteousness before him all the days of our life. Because in the kingdom, hey, we're going to live forever, and we're not going to have no problems, no fear. The Edomites are going to be in chains where they belong. These heathen nations are going to be in chains, building up our kingdom, building up our empire, and we're going to have the liberty to serve Yahweh Shema Shai. And we're going to be putting belt to ass to all you heathens, man. You heathens are going to be serving Yahweh Shema Shai, whether you want to or not. Okay, and once the 1,000 years are expired, you Edomites are going to be rounded up and set on fire, alive, and you're going to be done away with for all your atrocities, man. This is Obadiah 1:10. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. Okay, that's the judgment. That's what's going to happen to you Edomites, man. But with that, I want to finish by giving all glory, honor, and praises unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem HaKodash. Double honors unto the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who taught us his truth. A sincere shalom to the hopeful elect that's out there listening, learning, and or teaching in truth and sincerity. Shalom wa abad babal. Shalom.